feel like so much of the time I'm just like very averted to starting things whenever I can't start them in a way that I project perfection from the start. Does that make any sense? Probably not. But I feel like I a lot of the time like hit standstills with things whenever I'm like, oh, like this can't be perfect or this can't be exactly how I want it to be. Um, which is like really insane because I stop myself from like so many opportunities because I'm like the circumstances isn't just right. Which sometimes it is going to be too warm, sometimes it is going to be too cold. It's a completely different circumstance if it's an unaccommodating environment because then something like fundamental needs change. But whenever it just comes to like things in passing, it does not need to be perfect to be done. It does not need to be perfect to be done. It does not need to be perfect to work. It does not need to be perfect to serve its function as I need it to serve its function. I'm like, it does not need to be, yeah. So I'm just like, I would love to live in a world where just like everyone always just breaks out singing. That's why I loved like the little like flash mob from the musicals whenever we go do that bullshit because I was like, oh, this is so High School Musical, like we're so lit, like most hated, but like that was so lit, that was so enjoyable, that was so much fucking fun. I really do love that era. But also I'm like, my musical theater era low-key taught me so much more about the human experience than I ever wanted slash needed to know in like in my youth. Like definitely there are just so many things that like would have like my life would have been all the better if I didn't know it. Yeah, but I'm also like, okay, so many like positive self-realizations and like developments and whatnot happened through it, and I feel like that just wouldn't have happened had it not been for that setting. So I'm like, okay, I can have a love hate, like it doesn't have to be like amazing, but like but it just sucks because it's like I hate learning through resiliency because I'm like, every time that I learn through resiliency, it is another reinforcement to me thinking like, will there ever be a setting in which I do not have to learn through being resilient? And I know that there will be, but just whenever it comes to like not being deterministic about the fact that like that better days exist, because I'm already at the point where like I've chosen happiness. Like I know that like literally no matter what circumstances provide, I am no longer like comfortable in misery, so I will always choose or like actively like seek to do better for myself. It, of course, like in application things are different than in theory, let's just say that. Theory versus application, there is definitely a very great divide, but it's the fact that like I am never in a place where I am comfortable with choosing poorly for myself. Like whenever I do choose poorly for myself, it's like cognitive dissonance because I know that it's wrong. I know that it's terrible. I know that it's like not something that's like within part of my character. But then it's like, damn, that's life. And but I'm like, I need to stop calling everything life because I'm normalizing the fuck out of just like very uncomfortable behaviors. Like I feel like whenever it comes to like so many things, like like can I even say this? I mean, I'm almost 20. I keep thinking about that. I'm like, I'm almost grown as fuck. Grown as fuck. And I hope that it's one of those things where like whenever I am 20, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I'm still a child. Which like I am. But it's the fact that like my thing is, whenever I think about it, I'm like, 20 is the last year, like in my youth. This is the first year that I feel like the year coming does feel like a large, like, age leap, but will feel like that in application. Because, like, 17 to 18, that low key turned me up. That definitely turned me up. But 19 to 20, I'm like, oh my god, this is a sign of the fucking times. And I'm like, will it just feel like this ever? Whenever I turned 21, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna feel like a child again whenever I turn. Cause here's my layout. Okay, 19 trip. I already feel like a fucking adult being 19. Like being 19, I'm like I'm not like a young term bitch anymore. Like I gotta take life seriously. But then being 20, I'm like, let me start looking into like a mortgage or something. Like what the fuck? I feel like that's my biggest thing. I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on very consistently. And like having that be something that I still resonate, like just knowing that like I really don't ever know what the fuck is going on. I'm like this is real life. Like things got serious like way quicker than I'm willing to like admit, think about any of that. But that being said, I'm like, roll with the tide, ball the fuck out, hit the pen, chill, like have a nice time. Those are the main priorities. So I'm like, if I can cover all of those bases, I'm okay. I'm okay. I do not need to have like a crazy amount in savings by like the end of this year or next year. I don't need to be like I feel like I every year like and not to say that I'm gonna like dream small for myself, but like I am going to stop guilting myself for not just like overnight having like incredible like gains over like a realm in my life. Like that has happened with a lot of things because I feel like I have opened my mind to the variability of that happening. But I feel like since I have learned to ask more out of myself and I that comes with actually having heightened expectations for myself and wanting more for the person that I am today so that I can be the person that I want to be tomorrow. It's like, wait, what the fuck was I talking about? What the fuck was I talking about? Long story short, it's like I do not have to have all my shit together because like I don't know what the fuck is going on and haven't for the past 19 and a half years. And I've made it this far. So I'm that definitely points in the right direction. I feel like I'm like not uncomfortable with yeah, like not having my shit right anywhere because I'm like who would I be to crucify myself whenever I'm like a youth. Like even if like cuz my thing is I'm like if I can look outside in to like I see people on like Facebook and whatnot at like 60s talking about like life developments and I'm like if I can look at everyone across every like walk of age with like gentleness and knowing the fact that like literally adulthood does not signify anything other than your age. It literally like you are continually developing, continually growing, continually like morphing into a different person. Like if that is something that I can if that's a yeah, if I can give that grace to other people, then I would be a fool to deprive myself of it. And I feel like that same mindset has low-key been like one of the most productive things for me whenever it comes to like anything in the realm of like self acceptance because I feel like my first instinct whenever it comes to other people is validating the emotion the way that it is presented. I mean, beyond that as well. Like, if people aren't actively, like, I'm going to validate the fuck out of someone else's emotion. I'm going to validate the fuck out of someone else's journey, out of someone else's context, out of someone else's everything. So, why wouldn't I go then do that thing for myself? Why do I look at myself as more critical than anyone else? So I feel like kind of like using that like third person, like stepping out of myself and trying to look at myself like objectively, like helps so fucking much because then I'm like not literally like beating myself black nor blue about the fact that I'm not a perfect person overnight. Like I feel like of course that doesn't come with me being like, okay, you know what, like young lit bitch, like everything is fine, like I don't have to change. Like no. No, 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 no. What not whatsoever because like if you don't have self accountability, you have nothing. You have nothing. But it's the fact that like I'm able to instead of the first emotion that I draw a reference to being guilt and shame and like disgust with myself, I draw a reference to proactivity and growth in the right direction and having like yeah, an expansive mindset, just opening my mind to variability, knowing that like literally nothing is fact until it happens. Nothing is fact until it happens. And I have to remind myself of that because sometimes I'm like, there's no way, like XYZ, like this just is never gonna happen. Not whatsoever. I feel like just allowing myself to concede to the fact that I would be a fool to think that I had any reins on whatever direction life goes in. Like every single day I wake up, and something to flag, also to remind yourself of this, like throughout your day, flag things that like you didn't expect to happen, whether it just be like, I don't know, like random bullshit like the Wi-Fi disconnecting, or like fucking like anything, or like missing the train, or like um I don't know, like seeing like a bird that's like the color instead of like brown. Like if you just like continually flag the fact that like everything is variable, you literally do not know what the hell is going to happen. Like I do not know. Yeah, like I literally could get robbed tonight, but I could also win $1 million tonight. Like I feel like the world is my oyster, and whenever I remind myself of the fact that like nothing is set in stone, it allows me to be like, yeah, because I really reason myself through like a lot of self developments. Like I feel like, which helps in a large part whenever it comes to like identifying the feasibility behind things and like preparing for certain circumstances, like the best, the worst, XYZ. But I feel like it also, ooh, what the hell was I saying? I was saying I do not, wait, no, I was saying I do, let me shut the fuck up and, let me think. Okay. Let me think, wait, let me think. Um, all I can think of is young lit bitch, young lit bitch, young lit bitch. That's like, that is like, I'm literally a young lit bitch. Like everything, like the world is my fucking oyster. That's what I was saying. But I don't remember. Whatever. Long story short, ball out, have a good time. Don't take anything too fucking seriously. Just make sure. I feel like this is my biggest advice. Make sure that you have a backup plan. That's it. It does not have to be comprehensive, but making sure that you have action items at least for things going awry, or even just if you change, like struggle with like changes a lot of the time, because sometimes I struggle with like schedule changes sometimes, like just random bullshit. Anything that freaks you out, there is no such thing as preparing too much to take care of yourself. So many people like stray away from the whole idea of like yeah, like journaling or like taking notes about themselves, or like talking to themselves, because it's like a lot of those things like aren't conventional. Like I mean, in a sense, they're like very like in practice. Like they're definitely like used and abused, but like in the sense that like a lot of people are just like, oh, it's not necessary. Whenever you start treating yourself like your most important subject, fuck mathematic, fuck a mathematic, like fuck it all. Your biggest priority should be understanding the person that you are and the role that you play in your own life before the role that you play in other people's lives. That's a fact. That is a fact. That is a fact. Not before, but because more the way that that's phrased, that's how I would tell it to myself, because I struggle with viewing my role in my own life versus my role in other people's lives. But of course, depending on which one you struggle with and to what extent, that narrative is different. So once again, nothing's set in stone. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I really want to try to get into modeling. Not even want to try to get into. I really am going to get into modeling. Like, mark my fucking words. Mark my words. I want to get my septum back. I was looking at like pictures and videos from last year, and I was like that's what I was like, that was a young limp bitch. Like that was a young limp bitch. And that's the thing. I didn't even mean to take it out all like that either. Like if it had been like a planned attack, I would not be able to sit here and be upset with myself. I'd just be like, okay, bad move. But I didn't even like wish this upon. Yeah, like I did not want this to like be put into fruition at all. Like I was not, yeah, riding that wave whatsoever. It literally fell out in the dead of night, might I add. In the dead of night. Might I fucking add. That was the worst part of it all. I woke up. fuck? I woke up, I was like that was really like like shook me to my very core because I've had my I've had my septum for 4 years now, and I'm not whatsoever. If the hole closed up, oh wow, I don't want to hear anybody tell me that I have to set it back to zero. Shut the fuck up. Not in my book. Never been that. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry because I feel like that makes complete sense. Like that was literally like such a integral part of my being. Not even in the way that like I made it my whole personality. I feel like I stopped talking about it like 2 months after I got it because it felt like inherent. Like it felt very, very nice to have. And I'm just like, yeah, like it's low key sickening to think that I haven't had it for so long because like it's just my favorite thing fucking ever. And like all the things that you can like, it's like a built-in fidget type vibe. Like there's really no circumstance that you will ever have to take out your jewelry. Did they make me take it out when I got surgery? I think they did. I don't remember. That was like crazy as fuck. Talk about crazy. Whenever you go to get a surgery, I'm telling you, you basically like, you go to sleep and everything's like fine and dandy, like you're conversing, like everything is like well in the world. You wake up naked and afraid, sweating more than you ever have in your life combined, like parched, alone, in the dark. Like it's so weird. I woke up, I was like, Perch. I was like, no way. I was like, no way. No way. What the fuck? It was so weird. Very glad that like I had that actual process though, because very genuinely, like my leg like damn near fell off the bone. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was not pretty. There's like a video. Hey, I was I was running down. There's like this like hill in front of my house. I was running down the hill. I was running down this goddamn hill, basically, and then I make like I have like the bright idea to like jump like the last like 5 feet. I was like, okay, fuck it, like leave it to the wind. I'm about to jump, which I like did in passing. So like I'm not even gonna say that was like a crazy like move, but I jump and then all you hear is, I was so pissed. I was so pissed, but because I was recording, I was like thinking to myself, I was like, it'd be like lit if I wasn't like crazy loud about this, because I was like thinking back on this, being like mind control. Like I'll be like literally like, wow, like that's self-discipline. Because sometimes I feel like my thing is I'm like a very like narrative drawn person, but that doesn't make any fucking sense. Well, that's the whole point of explaining it anyways. So it's like my thing is I'm like very like, yeah, like narrative, like what's the word, inclined. Like I feel like my first, okay, wait, let me explain and then like you'll get like a vibe. I feel like the first thing that I draw reference to in like a situation where I need to like rely on myself. Oh, my wall looks so barren. That little bullshit on the side. Like, no, there's like life. Yeah, there's life on Mars. But what the fuck was I even about to say? I don't remember actually. Oh, I'm very narrative drawn in the sense that like basically anytime that like I'm thinking about something like abysmal, like something not good is happening, or was something good happening just in passing, like I like have, and this is very weird to me. I found out not everyone has like an internal monologue. My mind is just always like I'm telling you, there's always somebody talking. There's always somebody talking. And that's why like I feel like whenever I talk, like it's literally just like how my thoughts like materialize. Like it is me hearing myself as well for the first time. I do not think before I speak. My thinking is my speaking. which is why I feel like I've learned to be very like intentional with the way that I speak and the way that I think, because they do go hand in hand. But it's like it's bittersweet as fuck because I'm like I am very like conscious of how my words are received, but then it's like yeah, because I have to fucking say every and how my thought like that's one of the biggest reasons that like I feel like I have been very productive with like learning how to hold myself accountable and like being inclined to take responsibility for like areas where I fucked up. Like I because I feel like whenever I think through things, I talk through them. And because a lot of the time, if I'm talking, I am opening myself up to an audience, whether it literally be the audience of myself, if I'm talking to myself, or like to other people, it's making it so that I actively, because those things have been materialized, like they are more than, if it was a thought, I could just leave it at that. But this might just be more on par with because of the way my mind works. But it's the fact that, like, if it's something that I am compelled, because I love hearing myself talk. So I talk through all of my thoughts, anything that I think, well, hence, but it's like anything that I think, I say. So if I can hear myself say it, or if other people, if it's like two other people can hear myself say it, it is something that is being received by other people. So it's then making me conscious of what the reaction is, whether once again it be an internal one or if I'm looking for patterns within other people's responses to things that I say so that I can identify what makes people feel good and what just is not productive to me being the person that I want to be in their life. Or same with me, like if I'm looking at, if I'm like hearing the things that I say and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like I can hold myself in check because it's not like I'm yeah, like I'm not able to rid myself of that. Like even whenever it comes to like extreme embarrassment, which is low key like a very sinister side of this whole ordeal, but it's like I have to talk myself through the entire thing to understand what I feel. And most of the time whenever I'm just like very embarrassed, like the whole feeling is literally just like complete overwhelm with like complete self-induced dehumanization. Like it is so like it is a vicious cycle like no other. Like nine other. I'm telling you, this is easily like embarrassment is oh wow. And that's why I had to like talk myself out of the ability to get embarrassed. But then something happened. Let me shut the fuck up because I'm not trying to think about that at all or talk about that. So like that we're gonna take that narrative, put it where the sun don't shine. New year, new me. I'm leaving my L's in 23. I'm leaving my L's in 23. I'm sorry. Well, what the fuck was I saying? Oh, because I'm like a narrative oriented person, if I am able to do a lot of things that show me that I'm able to do something, and I can actively draw reference to the words that I'm using to take me through that experience, then I'm like, oh, I'm chill. I'm okay. Like this, I can make it out to see the other side. Because I'm also very big on self consolation. Another thing learned through resiliency that would have been very nice not to have learned through resiliency, because now I really struggle to ask for help and I do not, oh, what's the word? Yeah, because I don't a lot of the time have like my emotions like validated by other people. So I had to learn how to like validate mine and how to like grow into the ability to like tell myself that like my emotions are worthy of being identified and they're worthy of being addressed and they're worthy of being developed and all that. So it's like, but self consolation is something that I'm very big on. I'm very big on learning how to accommodate myself, learning how to make myself comfortable in every situation, learning how to, yeah. But I feel like this is my biggest thing is like, I don't like the fact that like so much of the time I, whenever like this, a circumstance changes, whenever I do not have complete autonomy over the circumstances that I am within or the level of access that the circumstances have to me, then that entire process gets undermined because it's like such a new thing for me to like be able to self consult, like because I just recently found myself as worthy of that self-consolation, but like whenever I already, yeah, it's like fresh. Like it's like literally hot off the press. And then a circumstance that I am so compelled to kind of like I have so much appreciation for whatever it is that I'm like I'm willing to undermine myself at literally all costs, which of course is not what I'm trying to tell myself, but I feel like that's why this is such a beneficial skill because I'm learning how to identify sometimes my emotions before I know that they're in play. Because if I can recognize patterns, I'm very good at pattern recognition also because I can't read a vibe like almost all of the time. So I've just learned how to read patterns that come from actions. And I'm like, but whenever I start doing things, I've realized my actions in my own life are just so telling about my circumstance. They're so telling. And what sometimes, because I can't always be real with myself, I'm gonna be so honest. Like it's a hard thing to like be real with yourself, especially whenever you're like trying to tell yourself that something is so like a like little bitch, like young little bitch, like all that. But like um whenever you are like convinced that like all is well in the world, or you're trying to convince yourself all is well in the world, all is well in the world, you're really not gonna know until you look back and see what the fuck it is that you were doing. Like what you do with your time. Like, how was your day? What the fuck? Like, be real with yourself. Like, that's another reason why I feel like low key, like it is so important sometimes to just like like be mechanical with planning things for yourself because there's so many questions that I have want to like call back into play, like to ask myself, like whenever, yeah, just like in passing, if I'm like something's up, but I do not know what the fuck it is for the life of me. Just if I have like fresh on my mind, like the ability to draw reference to things that I'm like, this flags my behavior. I'm like, oh, that's so fire. Like that is literally so fire. I can use and abuse that to its fullest capacity because I've identified that these things work as what is it? Identifications? No, flat like flags for like yeah, like bad behavior. So it's like you get a chance to like be real with yourself and then like have it on the record. Not even on the record, but like fuck. But for the sake that you just get to like have like literally guidebooks on how to like walk yourself through things. I'm like, it's literally like my thing is even whenever I can't convince myself of like the necessity of like yeah, psychological self-care, just reminding myself that life is so much easier when I tend to my needs is just revolutionary. Like I don't always need to see myself as worthy. Of course, that is always the goal. That is always what I want. That is always where I should be. Unfortunately, it's not. And by kind of adopting this whole like abstinence, like mindset whenever it comes to so many things in mental health, you miss so many opportunities to save yourself whenever you were slipping through the cracks because you always want to be operating in a well mind and you want to think that it's a like, well, like step from like, yeah, like, what's the word? From like I don't know, like bad vibes to like good vibes. Like you want to think that that's just like a you move from one to the other, but the reality is some days get really fucking bad. But considering the fact that like every single mental health resource does like yeah, like you need some form of like medical documentation which it just is not accessible whether it be through finance, through citizenship status, through transportation, like all of that is so often a barrier for so many people, even if it just be your relationship with like clinical mental health areas. Like any amount that you can reduce the impact that it would have, the yeah, negative impact that it would have on you to like not add something to your resources mental health wise is like I don't even know what the hell that the end of that sentence is supposed to be, but like yeah, like do what you can like all the time. Like even if something just does not like I don't know. That's why I feel like my biggest thing is I'm continually like in like phases of self-realization. Like people, anytime I like see people on campus, they're like, where the fuck have you been for like the past year? And I'm like, oh, I've been around. I have been either at work or like in these four walls, like a fucking madman just thinking about life. But that's like the best way to be low key. Ugh. I'm like, this homebody era is either the best thing I ever done with my life or will be the end of it. Because very genuinely, I'm like, if I like I need to I need to get back in the groove of like actually interacting with people because I'm like low key, not even like in a grave like sinister way, but like I could like die in this house and the cats might be the first people to find out. Like not in a terrible way, not in a terrible way because I'm like low key that's like peak life. Well, in once again, not a grave terrible way, but like in the way that I'm just like I spend too much time out of the day driving myself crazy to have friends. That's terrible. I mean, I no, it came out right the first time. But that being said, it's like I I feel like yeah, like I want like to have like social interact. Like I want to be like a social person. I want to be like a social being. I really thrive on social. Well, I thrive a lot of the time in social settings. Let's say that. But I've realized sometimes literally all I want to do is just sit and talk to myself. And there's not always just like a place that I can like tuck away and do that, which is one of the other really big reasons that I'm like I am very big on like accommodating myself. What is this? It's just a camera. Whatever. Weird life. But that's another reason that I'm like very big on accommodating myself because I'm like I am like quick to tweak if something is not right. Like if something's up, like I gotta crack the case wide open or else nobody's gonna hear the end of it. Or I just need to leave. That's why I feel like so much I just up and leave, which is why I was literally telling Simi this earlier this afternoon. I was like, that's why I bought my car to campus. Because I need to just be able to dip. I feel like that's very fair though. Because like sometimes I like because this is what happens. I freak my like I freak myself out because I think I'm freaking everybody out, but then because I'm freaking myself out, then I do freak everybody else out, and I'm like, oh god, it's so bad. But it's like also like that's like fair, but I'm also like I need to like not like because that's like one of the biggest reasons that I'm like, okay, for the life of me, I low-key do need to like find people to like converse with on like a day-to-day basis. Because my thing is like I work with kids. So like yes, I literally spend more time at work than I do like at school. Like I literally like it is sickening. But I'm like my all of my social skills just like them bitches dissipate. Like consider it dissipated. I'm telling you. Because whenever I like, yeah, like they're just not in play for like long enough, which happens like a lot of the time, which is just not good, then it's like everything just like dissolves. So even though I like can be like well by myself for a while, and not in the way to be like, oh, fuck the friends, like fuck the fame, but like very genuinely, I'm like, I adore so many people in my life. I do very much enjoy like the presence of so many people in my life. But I'm also like, I am quick to overwhelm. I am very quick to overwhelm. Like that, I very frequently just feel a very impending feeling of overwhelm. And I I don't know what else the fuck to say. Like that's literally the best way that I can put it. Questions, comments, concerns. What? I feel like that's because also my thing is I'm realizing like the more that like I sit and like social yeah like in like social settings and just sit there and freak myself out. I'm like Oh my God. I low key sound like a bitch when I talk. Like, I low key sound like a bitch when I talk. Not even like in the sense of like what I say, but like I sound like a bitch. But I'm also like, that is so sad because I'm like, I'm like genuinely a kind ass individual. Like, whenever it comes down to things, before it even comes down to things, because I'm like, I literally like was like at the bottom of the social case like all through high school. Like I did fucking musical theater. The musical theater kids were low key on top of my school. That's not true. That's not true. I feel like out of 10, we were like a solid 4. Like we were low key living life. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it's like just genuinely like I have never been in a like don't get me wrong. I have done like my hand of just like down low dirty shit talking. That is so shameful looking back. Not to say that like all shit talking is shame. Well, I have a very acquired opinion on this. I feel like my biggest thing is that like I if someone does something shitty, then assassinations of character that correlate to the thing that are wait, fuck. So if you make fun of somebody, long story short, and it has to do with the offense or has to do with just like some maladaptive personality trait that they have, that's justified. In the court of law, I definitely feel like they greenlight that one. Cause it's like, doesn't like that is not like horrible, terrible. But like whenever it comes to ugh, like I feel like my thing is I used to just make fun of people that like fell outside of convention as soon as I found out they were shitty people. Like if they like say someone had like a bad hair day, but then it took me like realizing like that even is fucking destructive because I used to pride myself on the fact that yeah, like I'll never like make fun of the way that someone looks, but I'm like that's like a basic. Like that is a basic. That's not like a fucking like thing to be like, "Oh my god, like XYZ." Like that is definitely just like a standard. Like I feel like that's a very fair, yeah, standard. Like if someone is like a shitty individual, you can like maybe like if it's like am I allowed to say this online? Fuck it. If it's white people? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm you know what? No, I'm not. 2024, we're going in completely transparent. I hate to break it to y'all. I hate to. Well, if we're being honest, no, I really badly do not. But I feel like it is a fine thing to do to an extent. Well, fine, like, I mean, shit talking, but shit talking white people, like, no extent. Well, that's not true. Once again, if it comes to I'm very, yeah, I am very like, even if it is about like features and whatnot, unless it has to do with, yeah, being white. I'm just like very, yeah, like averted to like people making jokes about like, yeah, appearance. Even whenever it comes to stuff like, I know that people make fun of like white people for like really thin hair or like just like random bullshit. But like a lot of the time, the only people that get come for whenever they're white, the only people that get like come for in ways that have to do with like appearance are people that have like marginalized appearances. Like fat white people get made fun of a lot. Disabled white people get made fun of a lot. Not to be like, oh, boohoo white people, but like it's only the people that have like visible marginalizations that people are like very willing to. That's why I'm like, yeah, very like anti like appearance based, um, yeah, like jokes because I'm like, even if it is at a white person, um, that is someone's feature. That is someone's like appearance that isn't white. like there's so many people on earth. I should know this number all the time because I say this in conversation and I'm always like, someone check me if I'm fucked up. But I think there's 18 billion or 1.8 billion, somewhere in that ballpark, people on earth. Like somebody I'm full of shit. I'm full of shit, bro. Um Oh my god, I need to fucking. Oh, I need my septum back because I always used to keep. Oh my god, this mad. Oh, this is madness. This is low key madness. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is madness. But what the fuck was I about to say? There's so many people on Earth. There's got to be someone non-white that has that feature as well. And I'm like, you deserve spared, and the white person deserves assassination of character for something that is not then applicable to other people. That's why I'm like, it is very weird to me whenever people are like, oh, like now we can't say slurs anymore. And now we have to be like actually conscious of people's humanity before what the motherfuck? Oh, getting phone blown up. Psych, I'm kidding. This is literally my dad's phone. But wait, what the fuck was I even saying? Oh god, wait, I was about to eat too. Oh, I should have just rode with it. Wait, oh, that's why XYZ appearance based. Okay, white people. That's why. Oh, fun fact. Everyone, it is so strange to me whenever people are like, oh, like yeah, like it is so weird that we have to be like politically correct with like our terminology and whatnot now. Like XYZ, like you just want everyone to be like squares, like you don't want anyone to be like funny. And I'm like, I feel like the more I have held myself accountable for my ignorances and like my conscious and unconscious biases, the funnier I've become because it makes you really get like intellectual with it because like you don't have just like made to order like fucking yeah. Like it doesn't compute the same way, which I feel like is like genuinely lit because then you actually get a chance to like develop a sense of self beyond just like yeah, like cheap shots. Um, that being said, I'm gonna shut the fuck up. That's not true. That's not true. I think I'm just gonna record a different video because there was something else that I actually wanted to talk to myself about. And oh, I know what it was. Okay. Good night. Good night, myself. What the fuck was I about to say? Because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna just like record this. Because at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna record this for YouTube. But then I was like, oh, I'm gonna just talk to myself. And I feel like talking to myself is low key the vibe. But I'm also like, I could post this. Like nothing like raunchy. Like your phallic was like said. Like there was no graphic, no trigger warning necessary. Like things are yeah. All's well in the world. Okay. I want to learn how to braid my hair. Oh, I need to film a different video. That's not true. Do I? I don't care because I'm about to go back and watch this anyways, no matter how long it is, and it might like you just make it easier if it's all one thing later. Gotta watch some Glee, bitch. Ooh. BK. Having your way. Like fuck. Eat zone. Okay. Good night. What the fuck?